Estamos en Nueva York para contarles una historia única en el rock. La de una banda que en vida buscó el éxito comercial, pero 3 de sus 4 integrantes murieron antes de conocerlo. La de un grupo que nunca tuvo una canción en los rankings y sin embargo influenció a los más grandes, desde U2 hasta los Red Hot Chili Peppers. Un grupo que aquí en su país tocaba para menos de 1000 personas y que sin embargo en la Argentina se despidieron hace 20 años tocando para 65.000 en la cancha de River. La historia de los Ramones, que tienen el ADN neoyorquino, pero el corazón argentino.
The Ramones are kind of like that. When they first started playing, they go to small towns and they play, and these kids would say, hey, if they can do that, I can do that.
You miss them sometimes?
Well, I think I get constant reminders every day of them. If I put on a song or I hear it on the radio, you know, they were my friends and bandmates.
I looked and I knew I had to run away, yeah, and get down on my knees and pray that they'd go away. Still it begins.
Estamos a 40 minutos de Manhattan. En este edificio de Forest Hill en Queens vivió Jeffrey, un joven con trastornos obsesivos compulsivos. Se pasaba todo el día tocando la batería y coleccionando discos. Aquí fue donde conoció a John y a Douglas. Los 3 tenían severos problemas con las drogas y de conducta. Tiempo después de conocerse se dieron cuenta que tenían un mismo gusto musical y cambiaron sus nombres. Jeffrey fue Joey, Douglas fue Didi y John fue Johnny. Aquí comenzó a gestarse un mito del rock mundial.
Joey is very creative. Great singer, very creative. He was like the McCartney and Lennon McCartney. He wrote the softer songs. Now Didi was the punk. He wrote the harder songs. So put them together, you had the Ramones, you know what I mean? Like the Beatles, Lennon McCartney, hard, soft. But you put them together, you get the Beatles. That's the same thing.
Half and half.
Yeah, Johnny was the commander, you know?
The leader.
The general.
Still it begins. Needles and pins. Because of all my pride, the tears I gotta hide.
And how was his life here?
Well, you could see that, you know, it's a neighborhood with everything kind of tight and close by, you know, where his mom, you know, the art gallery was just a few blocks up the street was the high school we went to. So they all kind of grew up in this neighborhood right here.
And Johnny and Didi also lived around the neighborhood.
Yeah, they all lived in Forest Hills, but in different pockets of the neighborhood, sure. As Didi said, you know, back in the early 1970s, it wasn't cool to be from Queens. You know, you always had to say you were from Manhattan. You know, so they lied about like having an apartment, a pad in Manhattan, because it wasn't cool to be from this neighborhood here.
The gay took my baby away, they took her away from me. The gay took my baby away, they took her away from me.
There's a yard between the buildings. Something happened there, no?
Yeah, I wanted to show it to you. It's a kind of like a little playground with like a swimming pool or whatever. But it was interesting, you know, the neighborhood, while it was middle class, there were some families that had some money. And, you know, a lot of the moms that were taking care of their kids really didn't pay attention to them being like, you know, radical. And they were kind of snooty and brats. And as Joey and Didi were sitting there one day, they're watching these kids just run all over the place, and the mom isn't paying attention to them. And that's where they came up with the idea of beat on the brat with a baseball bat. Right? Got it from like parents not minding their children.
Beats on the brat, beats on the brat, beats on the brat with a baseball bat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. Beats on the brat, beats on the brat, beats on the brat with a baseball bat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh.
Estamos en Queens Boulevard, el corazón de Forest Hills. Aquí funcionaba un conocidísimo cine que hoy, como verán, está cerrado. Y al lado, la galería de arte de la madre artista de Joey. Aquí venían, cuando la galería cerraba a las 8 de la noche, a ensayar Joey y Didi. A veces se quedaban hasta la mañana siguiente que la madre volvía a abrir la galería de arte donde hoy funciona una bicicletería. Aquí, en este lugar de Queens Boulevard, empezó la historia de los Ramones. So, in this art gallery, the story of the Ramones began.
It did, rehearsal-wise, you know, because Joey and his mom grew up just a few blocks from here, so a lot of times she said she would be able to walk to work to come to her art gallery. But, you know, the gallery had a basement, and, you know, if the band doesn't have a lot of cash, which they didn't, where would be a good place to rehearse? Your mom's art gallery's basement, right? So Joey and Didi would actually rehearse quite a bit in the basement of the old art garden gallery here on Queens Boulevard.
Thanks to Mama Ramone.
Thanks to Mama Ramone, because she said she would come in a lot of times during the morning and find these guys passed out from an exhaustive rehearsal, a few cocktails, and she was so cool about it, they called her Mama Ramone.
Con la banda en plena formación, era tiempo de dejar el pago chico y conquistar la gran ciudad. Así desembarcaban los Ramones en Manhattan. El 16 de agosto de 1974, los Ramones tocaron en público por primera vez en este lugar de la calle Bowery en Nueva York. Aquí funcionaba el CBGB, tal vez el club punk más importante del mundo. Se hicieron locales aquí los Ramones y tocaron centenas de veces, llenando la sala que solo podía albergar a 250 personas. Aquí lo descubrieron y les hicieron firmar su primer contrato discográfico. El lugar, el CBGB, cerró en el año 2006 y hoy funciona una elegante marca de ropa. Do you remember the period of the CBGB, for example?
Of course. I lived there.
Yeah. And what do you remember of that years?
Well, it was a hole in the wall. It was a very tiny little club. Great sound system. It was where we all used to hang out. And, you know, it was a camaraderie. We're all friends. We knew that we started something in the 70s.
You realized then?
We knew that the music we were playing is what we liked, but we knew that eventually, you know, the world might catch up to it, you know. Which it did. Bands weren't playing fast. They weren't counting each song. We did. You know, that's how it started. And then a lot of bands picked up on it and, you know, started strumming downstrokes and counting each song and jumping more, moving around, and, you know, it was a change. It was needed.
She's a sensation, she's a sensation. She looks so sweet. She's a sensation, she's a sensation. Good enough to eat.
We wanted to show the excitement of the music itself too.
And those songs are still alive, no?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's past, but it's also present, no?
Yeah,
the music.
Yes, Sedated, Rockville High School, Sheener and Rockaway Beach, being played more than ever.
Yeah,
which is great. You know, really shows the longevity of this music that we call punk rock.
1, 2, 3, 4.
How did the Ramones reach the CBGB? Because they were playing in Queens, no?
Yeah. CBGB's was just one of these clubs that would give upstart bands a chance. You know, it was in one of the worst neighborhoods in New York. the Bowery. It wasn't a desirable location. Many people from uptown missed out on the whole scene because they didn't want to travel to this nasty neighborhood to see relatively unknown bands.
Tan importante fue el CBGB para los Ramones que en esta pared, en esta puerta secreta de ingreso al club que está en la parte posterior del CBGB, se sacaron la foto que fue la portada de su tercer disco, Rocket to Russia. Aquí en el Extra Place, en este callejón, se juntaban a tomar cerveza, a fumar, a charlar antes y después de los shows. Fueron innovadores, vanguardistas y marcaron una época. A lo largo de sus 21 discos y más de 210 canciones mantuvieron un estilo. Ese estilo forjó un amor incondicional con el público argentino que desde 1987, en su primer show y a lo largo de sus 27 presentaciones en nuestro país, se hizo eterno.
The place was shaking and the crowd was singing along to each song. KKK took my baby away, and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, getting in and out was pretty rough too, out of the place.
In Argentina, of course, they got the taste of what it was like to be a supergroup.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. La fiesta empezó.
El último show de los Ramones en River, un día como hoy, hace exactamente 20 años, fue el más grande de su carrera.
Hey, hey, let's go!